Hey guys, Patrick, it's Tuesday, and on Tuesdays I talk about long hair. Today I'm going to talk about something that has been brought up in the comments a couple of times recently, which is interesting because I thought that it was a topic that was covered by a lot of other people quite a while ago, like over a year ago. It seemed like this was more of the hot topic, so I feel like I might be a little bit late to the party on this, but as more people are growing their long hair, as more guys are discovering long hair, it may be something that they're looking into now. That topic is coconut oil. Coconut oil is something that last year I think I noticed that it was being brought up as this sort of cure-all, be-all, end-all of not only beauty products but also of health products. Like, you just saw this sort of resurgence, or this, I guess, surgence of coconut products like coconut water, coconut oil. Everything suddenly had coconut in it because of the health benefits of it. And when something is that popular, is suddenly taking off, I tend to be a little bit skeptical of it as a solution to every problem you have. I did a bit of research into coconut oil itself. I did this a while ago. I was looking into what the benefits are of this, really basic product, and it's a food product for the most part. Coconut oil has been around for a long time for people who wanted a different alternative to, say, vegetable oil, or it also has properties that allow you to use it in the kitchen as a replacement for some things that have dairy in it. So in the kitchen, it was pretty popular with folks who were into sort of organic or whole foods or that sort of thing. But for hair care, for skin care, it really seemed to come into popularity last year. And so when I was researching it, I did notice that there were a number of studies done on coconut oil, and it did prove to be a fairly useful product, especially for hair care. Now, some of the things that coconut oil are really good for in terms of hair care are, it is excellent, as are most oils, for your hair if you have dry hair. So if you have dry hair, flyaway hair, it's going to work like any other hair oil, such as an argan oil or a grapeseed oil. That sort of thing can just soak into the strands of your hair fairly well, and coconut oil has been found to really soak into your hair quite well. Now, coconut oil does take a while to soak into the hair shaft, so if you're going to be using it as a conditioning agent, the best way to do that is to put it into your hair. Now, that's you would want to put that in as a liquid form. Coconut oil at room temperature, at most room temperatures, is a solid. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. So that is a solid product for the most part, unless you are somewhere where it's quite warm. It doesn't usually liquefy at room temperature for most folks. So in order to put it into your hair as a conditioning agent, you would want to take a small amount. Very small amount goes a long way, and I will get to that in a minute in terms of the drawbacks for coconut oil. But just a very small amount, maybe a tablespoonful, a couple tablespoonfuls, into a small dish or a small glass or something. Pop it in the microwave for just a few seconds until it's just melted and warm. Then you can rub it through your hair, through your scalp as well as the ends of your hair. If you then wrap your hair up, you can tuck it up into a shower cap. You can put it into a bun, and some folks even use, say, saran wrap or cling wrap, and just wrap your head and then let it sit for a couple of hours. That will just soak into your hair. Some people do it overnight. I'll get to the drawback for doing that, but I mean, you can do that. It will actually soak in the longer you keep it in your hair. And then be sure to wash it out really well with your shampoo of choice. As well as a conditioning agent, it can also be used as a hair dressing. And the difference between, for me, a conditioner and a hair dressing is just the application. So a hair dressing can be used to tame your hair a little bit, to make it, not to soften it overall, but to tame the areas. For me, it's the ends. The ends of my hair, because it's quite long, tend to get very dry. I have dry hair for the most part, so I'll take just a really infinitesimal amount of of coconut oil at room temperature and then rub it between your palms, and then you can just apply it with your fingers to the ends of your hair. Make sure that you're not putting too much on there, because I'm going to get to that in a minute. But again, with coconut oil, a little tiny bit goes a long way. So you don't really need to buy much, and it's not all that expensive to begin with. Also, coconut oil has been shown to have a very mild antibacterial property. That can come in really handy if you have dandruff, because one of the properties of dandruff shampoos that kill the dandruff on your head is this antibacterial property that can help tame your dandruff. So if you have dandruff, you can apply coconut oil to your scalp, again, in the same manner that you would for your hair, and then wash it out, and you will have less frequent dandruff happening in your hair. That antibacterial property also helps to clean out the sebum, which is the oil that naturally happens in your hair follicle, from clogging it up. So if you have a lot of oiliness to your hair, it seems a little bit counterintuitive, but if you take a little bit of coconut oil and you apply it to your scalp, it can actually help clean out the extra oil that could clog up your hair follicles. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks to coconut oil. It is a food product, so it could spoil. Cosmetics can also spoil. You know, your shampoos, your conditioners, all of that do have a shelf life, but it doesn't really, if you go past your shelf life, especially with shampoos and conditioners, you can kind of get away with it. With coconut oil, it's an oil, so it has a very long shelf life, but it can go rancid. So you want to make sure that you're going to get enough that you can use in a timely fashion, and that you check it before you put it onto your hair, because you may not notice because it does smell like coconuts, but it can get a very distinctive odor if it's been in your hair, or if you've got a bad batch that's been around for too long. Also, like I said, a little tiny bit of coconut oil goes a long, long way. Coconut oil is notorious for me for staining clothing. So if I've got hair that's this long, if I put too much on the ends of my hair and I let it sort of sit on my shoulders or on my shirt, every once in a while you'll see this telltale stain, and it can take a lot to get that out of your clothing. So just use as much as is necessary to soak directly into your hair, and make sure that you wash your hands really well after you have applied it, because you can touch other things. If you are going to go to sleep or lie down or put your head against anything with coconut oil in your hair, make sure that it's wrapped well, especially if you're using it as a conditioner and you're using quite a bit, because it can seep into pillows, it can seep into your couch cushions, all of that, and it can be a pain in the neck to get out. And finally, again, a little goes a long way. If you're putting a ton into your hair, and I don't even mean, and by a ton, I mean more than just a tiny amount, your hair can get very weighed down. It can get very limp and greasy, and it just doesn't work all that well if you've got too much in your hair. Again, it's just too much of a good thing. So just be careful and experiment if you've never used it before, just how much you actually need. You just need enough to tame your hair, enough to condition your hair. If you put in a little bit too much before conditioning it, you can always use a couple of shampoos to get it out, and it will eventually rinse out, but make sure that you get it all out of your hair as much as you can, because it really can make your hair look a little bit dull and lifeless if you have too much in there. Overall, though, I would say that coconut oil mostly lives up to the hype. It is a great conditioner. It is a great dressing for your hair. It does have some really nice properties that can help your scalp. And it's not expensive because it's a food product that's been around for a long time. You can get a lot of it for a very small amount of money, and it's not something that is going to matter which brand you get, so you don't have to worry about going to a salon and asking for coconut oil. Just have to go to your own grocery store. And because organic products and vegan products and all of that sort of thing are so much more popular, you're more likely to find it in just your neighborhood supermarket, as opposed to having to go to an organic store or a specialty food store to find it. Just a couple of things, just make sure that you use just enough of it for your hair, and also with any hair product, make sure that it works for your hair. Something that works for me might not work for you. So if it doesn't work for you, then there are plenty of other types of oils out there that could work, or other products that are definitely on the market for you. I'm here every Tuesday talking about long hair. Would love it if you'd subscribe and keep up with that. Thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next time.